We did have a little bit of a fight with the internal structures in the city, but that's been resolved. So the cleaning project is good to go. And Gardens currently is the cleanest area in the CBD. So yeah, well done to all. Thank you.
Thanks, Brandon. Rick, you want to say something?
Thank you, Nikki. Yeah, I had one quick question, one slightly longer one. The quick one is the 18A certificates. From which point would we be able to sort of claim, at what point was that established?
Oh, so this would only be moving forward, and so the regular donation to Gardens Watch, that wouldn't qualify. So SARS would see that if you're paying a donation, like just a regular donation, you're getting a cleaning service, and therefore it wouldn't qualify. So the way I'm looking at the Schedule 18A status, I think it needs a bit of thought, but I would like to move forward with the camera project, because then we're talking some really serious numbers. And then we need to have a big plan and how it integrates with other role players and other watchers, the LPR project. And then I think it's easier to argue that we are not benefiting. So we're not going to directly benefit from that project. So I put in 1,000 Rand for cameras, and our camera project is, a 6-month project, and it's going to be on, 3 different installations, and it's plugging into the LPR project that services the whole of Cape Town. Then yes, I think that's an easier argument to make, that there's no indirect or direct benefit. So we'll have to keep you posted on how that unfolds. But yeah, I think we definitely need to use this opportunity. When people hear that we've got the Schedule 18A status, they are usually quite impressed, because anyone who's tried to go through that process has
SARS won't readily part with that cash if people are claiming it back. Thank you, Nikki. My other question is, am I to understand that we could possibly expect some relaxation on the indictment against law enforcement if and when lockdown eases? Obviously, that's very optimistic given COVID and how everything is.
Looks like Brandon wants to answer that one. So Brandon, go ahead.
Take it away, Brandon.
Nikki, I think you don't want to answer that. So obviously, currently we're facing multiple situations. The first one is the lockdown regulations, which prevent evictions. It made sense at lockdown level 5, and an eviction, in terms of the legal opinion obtained by the City of Cape Town from Senior Advocate Jeremy Gauntlet, was that eviction is eviction. Doesn't matter if you own the house, rent the house, have a structure, be it a shack, be it a tent, or be it the cardboard box that you're lying under. It's an eviction, which, as I'm sure you've realized, it's been aggravated by the sheer numbers which have migrated into the CBD due to lockdown, because opportunity wasn't elsewhere. Nikki and a few other role players have joined in terms of the social development forums. So we're trying to deal with it both from a carrot and a stick point of view. Second to that was, you may have realized a while ago that there was the whole furor with the city and land invasions. On the outer edges of the city and some of the inner edges, we had land invasions happening. We got taken to court by the South African Human Rights Commission, but only Cape Town got taken, nowhere else. Long and short of it is that the judgment ruled against the city, and if a structure was going up, we would need to take it down while it was going up. The moment it was constructed and occupied, we'd need to leave it. Now, I think the judgment was based on a shack going up. You try to get there while the tent's going up. It's near impossible. We've sought lots of legal opinion. The third one to that was the Gelderblom case. Many will know that well. Ampty will know that specifically, because it intervened in some of the neighborhood watch actions which were going to happen. And the Gelderblom case was the fact where I think it's Karen Gelderblom and 6 other homeless people took the city to court because we were fining people for contravening bylaws. The judge back then found in their favor. The judgment subsequently lapsed, and currently they're in court again. Residents of the Atlantic Seaboard and the City Belt spent a fair amount of money as friends of the court on the side of the city in that case. For a lot of these things, both and I forget what the land invasion one is, but in terms of the COVID regulations and the attached finding as it pertains to land invasions, they're all tied to the lockdown regulations. City of Cape Town has raised intergovernmental dispute through the province and to national government, indicating that this clause with regards to no evictions, while relevant at level 5 and level 4, doesn't seem to have any relevance at level 1 or even at level 3, which we're at now. So that's been challenged. And the moment that those regulations drop, we're able to enforce the Streets and Public Places bylaw, which is the bulk of the breach which happens. Generally speaking, we do try to intervene. No person on the street gets any enforcement until our social teams have touched them with offers of support at least 6 to 7 times. But what we're picking up now is, and while we're sympathetic to the case of the true homeless, many of you will note that we are now getting the 28 gangsters and the likes who are coming in because it's fair game. So that's kind of where it's at. We're seeking legal advice. It's costing a fair amount of city resource and spend. We are waiting for the regulations to lift for full implementation. Yeah, so that's kind of where that is. I can give you a hell of a lot more detail if you want it separately. Thanks.
Thanks, Brandon.
Thank you, Honourable Member.
So we are already sitting at almost 8:25, and we want to wrap this all up by 8. I think that might be a bit optimistic, but I see Darren's got his hand up, so please go ahead, Darren.
All right, thanks, guys, for everything you've done. I've got 2 questions. The one being related to cameras, just to understand. So it's a double question. So recently, of course, some of us got correspondence regarding this Glyn Street exercise of hiring private individuals to do some security. So that's a cost that would have to be borne by the community for a specific area. But then again, there's the camera project that's, I suppose we'd also like to be involved in. But also understanding the impact of that.
Hold on, you're not going to be able to speak.
So I think, yeah, I'm just, it's about, it's about budgeting. If you guys are collecting 170 grand a month and you have 170 to spend every month, and this exercise in Glyn Street is going to cost, I don't know what the total number was for 3 months. How's that going to be sustainable? Asking the community to put in 1,500 rand over the next 3 months for 1,000 rand a month for 3 months. I don't know how the economics work, to be honest with you. So I'm interested, but I don't understand how practically it's going to work long term for the broader community, not just a couple of streets.
Anyone on the Exco want to jump in? Are you going to leave it to me? Yep.
I'm happy to jump in if my connection holds. I think, Darren, as it stands now, the exercise for the security kiosks and the funding is not necessarily connected to, and Ingo can, he just raised his hand, he can actually comment on it. It's not necessarily connected to Gardens Watch. So the funding that's being collected by Gardens Watch aren't being spent there. I'm a good example. I live just up the road. I've put my hand up and said I would give money towards the kiosk. I'm already also giving money to Gardens Watch. So it's a test project, but it's definitely not under the same umbrella. And Nikki, you can jump in if I'm
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll hand over to Ingo in a minute, but yes, I think we need to make the very, very clear distinction as to what is a Gardens Watch project and what is not a Gardens Watch project. And so that kiosk, as it stands currently, is it's not a Gardens Watch initiative. We are waiting on more information from Ingo. Our biggest concern is obviously that if you're going to put security guards in place, those security guards have to be accredited by CIRA. That's the regulatory framework. And when Gardens Watch has looked at this so far, unless something changes, the kind of numbers that have been suggested just don't make sense. I don't think that those guards can be CIRA approved if the cost is 15,000 Rand a month. So Gardens Watch would rather focus our attention on cleaning, camera projects, communication. We've got a whole lot of things that we're excited about. And I think we're probably going to let Ingo run with his project.
That's fine. Just for me, you know, for all of us that are, you know, we all, you know, constrained financially, I'm sure, during this period.
Absolutely.
I need to certainly invest my money in something that's going to give the greatest long-term benefits. So of course, the camera project and those projects, because it can, you know, it certainly supports me, but could support the rest of the road. It's not going to be such a significant ongoing cost. I know just from other properties and security there and other properties is that it's an ongoing significant cost that someone's going to have to fund. So it's fine. I'm happy with the answer. We don't have to go into it further. Thank you.
Okay. I'm still going to give the floor to Ingo. He's had his hand up. So Ingo, go ahead.
I was only going to answer Darren's questions, but it seems he is satisfied with the answers he's got. Just in a nutshell, I think it was summarized quite well by both Nikki and Werner. It is a private initiative, and it does not draw any funds from Gardens Watch. So whoever contributes to Gardens Watch, those funds will not go into this initiative that's starting on the corner of Burtonkant and Glyn Street. I have just contacted as many people as possible and asked for voluntary donations for this purpose, and basically we are going ahead with that as fast as we possibly can. Currently we're struggling a bit to get all the paperwork and stuff from the city. Maybe Brandon can comment on that. That was meant to come 2 weeks ago, but I don't want to hijack this meeting. I just wanted to give you guys brief feedback, and if there are any other questions, you're most welcome to ask me. I'm here. You can also put them on the chat. I don't want to keep this meeting from continuing, so unless there's any direct question from anybody now, I'll hand back to Nikki.
Okay, thanks. I can see Clinton wants to say something, and then Brandon will go on to you.
Hi, everybody. So just on the camera initiative, so I sponsored those cameras there on Glyn Street last year when we had the stabbing. I'm further up in Glyn Street. I'm on the corner of Hope and Glyn Street. When we had that stabbing, we got very valuable information because I caught the guy here on my camera. And since we've put those cameras up there, what we've noticed is a lot of the gang members in that area, and we could identify them. About 3.5 months ago, we had a meeting with McAllen about the operation. And that's where, for me, the value is in terms of, although it's not on my premises, and I've sponsored that to the Gardens Watch, and some other community members also sponsored again for the cameras further down in Glyn and Maynard Street. So that was a way to really identify who the troublemakers are amongst the actual homeless people. And the idea there was that if we have more cameras around in the area, it's just to have that extra eyes, because prior lockdown, not a lot of people wanted to go on, driving. So this was a way to try and hopefully somebody can log in and just watch or monitor. So I hope that answers any other questions about cameras and what that initiative is about.
Thanks, Clinton. Brandon, very quickly, we're ready at 8:30.
Okay, 15 seconds. So with regards to the caravan, the city actually hasn't got one, which is my bad. I've been in contact with the Department of Community Safety, who are finding me one in the province, which will hopefully have a feedback in its day or so on that. But I think one thing which is important, because we're concerned about what happens in Glen Street versus not Glen Street, guys, this is one watch area. If we don't contain in one space, it falls across and affects us all. We can't think about my road or my corner. We have to think about one watch in one space, because crime affects us all, and criminals do not know any boundaries. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Brandon. Dinah, you've got something you'd like to say? Go ahead.
I nominate, I and several other people nominated Anthony Rees as a member of the committee, and I didn't see him anywhere on the list you gave.
Diana, perhaps I can answer that. Anthony isn't currently a member of Gardens Watch, and only members in terms of our constitution can be on the EXCO.
Okay, well, firstly, he made it quite clear in that WhatsApp string that he did not resign from Gardens Watch. There was one particular incident or one particular situation he no longer wished to be involved in. And secondly, it would appear that the Constitution has been revised and updated without any discussion with the community at large. Could you perhaps elaborate on that?
All I can comment on was that I was at a meeting I think it was Christine's house last year, when Anthony said that he resigns from the watch. I don't know if there was anything else.
Well, his contention more recently was that he has not resigned. Anthony, over to you.
Go ahead, Anthony.
Yeah, there's an issue here. There is an issue here, obviously. I am still a member of the watch. I'm a founding member of the watch. And, you know, I find it ridiculous now that I have to reapply to join the watch. That is absolutely nonsense. You don't reapply to join an organization which you are a member of. That makes no sense whatsoever. Or does this relate to your completely new constitution with a new watch that you've launched? That's my question.
No, hold on, Anthony, just a second. We were at a meeting and you said that you were resigning and you left.
Which meeting was that? Can you remind me?
Yes, we were at a meeting at Christine Cappendale's house some months ago. And you said you were resigning and you left.
I never said I'm resigning. I said I'm leaving this meeting and you can keep your meeting to yourself. I never resigned from the watch. I've made it patently clear. I've made it patently clear on numerous occasions that I'm still a member of the watch. I'm just not an active member of the watch. I am as all the other people in the watch.
Okay, well, that was not what I heard at the time.
Then why was I invited to this meeting if I'm not a member?
No, hold on a moment. But this is the meeting is open, not only open for members. It's for people in the community.
Bollocks.
All right, sorry guys, I do need to go put kids to bed. It's Dan speaking. I don't know how much longer this is going to be, but sorry, I apologize.
Sure. Thanks very much, Darren. Quick, if we can just do the second poll on the Schedule 18A status, because we really need we really need the votes at this AGM. So I'm just going to put a quick one here. Schedule 18A status. And I'm going to say yes and no. And if you could just vote there.
Nikki, sorry,
appreciative.
I'm just wondering. I'm just wondering if Anthony shouldn't be perhaps put on in as an additional member, and it can be dealt with at the ExCo level. My understanding to date has been that he's not a member, but perhaps this is something that can then be dealt with at ExCo level.
Yeah, look, according to my records, as I shared on the group, I have resignation communication from Anthony. You've expressed that you have resignation. Yeah, you witnessed a resignation. So as it stands currently tonight, the 25th of August, 2021, Anthony is not a member of our watch. We need to vote our new committee in tonight. And so if Anthony wants to rejoin the watch, as all our members have had to do recently, then he needs to go through that process, and we will take that, take it from there.
Okay.
All right, Anthony, you want to have another go around? We still want to have a quick chat about Tainplane for those who want to stay on the call. But yes, go ahead, Anthony.
I just want to know, what is the rationale of rejoining the watch when you already are a member? When I handed over the membership to you, Nikki, you had a complete spreadsheet of all people that were current members at the time. I understand you've weeded out and not involved. I understand that. But I'm here. I've always been active in the watch's name. I don't know where this comes from, and it's absolutely necessary and very unfair the way you are conducting this affair.
So, Anthony, you're breaking up there. Okay, right, then we'll have to take this discussion offline, or you're welcome to chat with the ExCo at our next ExCo meeting, and we will discuss it further. But I just don't feel like tonight, with the time already being 8:45, that it makes sense to keep going on this issue. So I'm going to hand over to Clinton.